Business has to happen in the world of football. After all, we're in a transfer market at the moment, and players are going to move around no matter what. We need to make sure that we are making the right business, the right moves for the right players in the right position. But the question is, what business do we need to do? What positions do we need to target? Who do we need to take in? And ultimately, what do Leeds United need? In this video, I'm going to go through Leeds United position by position. I'm going to talk all about the current players at the club, some of the departures, and some of the incoming rumours, the players that might be on their way to Leeds, to sort of work out which positions we need to do the most work in. Importantly, I'm going to scale it from a 1 to 5 in terms of need, 5 being players that we really, really need to make a move for and sort of cover their positions, and a 1 being, it's fine, we don't really need to do anything. And interestingly, some of these might surprise you, so stick about all the way to the end and subscribe if you're not yet. That'd be really appreciated. Thank you. First up, we need to start from the back, from the goalkeeper. And I've made my opinions on Illan Meslier fairly clear in the past. I think he's very easily a championship standard goalkeeper, quite comfortably. I think what we tend to do is we tend to underestimate our own players whenever they show any signs of weakness. And Illan Meslier has been massively the victim of that for a long time. And without a doubt, he is a good enough goalkeeper to take on the championship, and replacing him would be absolutely pointless. In addition to that, Carl Darlow and Christopher Claassen are passable backup goalkeepers. It's not a situation in which I think we need to immediately do any business at all. I think we could easily sell one of Darlow and Claassen and still be completely fine. This position is a 1 out of 5. I think there is no need to do anything at all. But then we move forward a teensy tiny bit and to the right to the right back position. And this is the first position in which I think we have some genuine problems and have genuinely quite a bit of work to do. Looking through last season and the players that played at right back, Connor Roberts is gone. Loan ended, gone back to Burnley. Maybe we make it permanent, but that's not happened yet. And I don't know if it will, because will Burnley really want to sell to a promotion rival? Luke Ayling is gone, now at Middlesbrough, left after the expiry of his contract. Archie Gray is more of a midfielder, and rumours are that he wants to play a little bit more there this season. Sam Byram is fairly injury prone and only has a year on his contract, and even that is extension. And Shackleton is technically out of contract. There might be one offered, but we're not certain. Shorthand for this one is absolutely urgent. We don't really have any right backs at the club. So when we're going out this summer, it's going to have to be a case of, let's pick up some players that can play on the right side of defence. Ideally bomb forward a bit, whilst also doing the defensive stuff pretty effectively. 5 out of 5. Act immediately. Like now. I say like now. I'm going to clarify. I think that any business that we do will be after the 30th of June, just because that is the end of the financial reporting period, and it would be very, very silly for us to risk our profit and sustainability stuff just because we were a little bit impatient. Wait, the moves will come. Next up, we move across a teensy tiny bit to the middle of the defence to the centre-back position, which was, let's be honest, one of our strongest spots last season. We had one of the best defences in the division for the majority of the season. It dropped off towards the end, but everything dropped off towards the end. Whilst things were really good last season, I'm looking at next season and thinking that's a little bit scary. Basically, Rodon is gone. Back to Spurs. Maybe we sign him permanently, but there's far from any guarantee of that. There's interest from Ipswich, there's interest from all over the shop. Ethan Ampadu is ideally a defensive midfielder. Pascal Struijk we know is injury prone a lot of the time, so he'll always miss 10 to 15 matches in any given season. And Charlie Crossball might just not be up to the standard. I know that we all have this picture of Charlie Crossball in our head of a very physical, very effective centre-back. I don't think he's really proven that at Leeds. Which, I mean, we don't see him in training. Maybe he just doesn't have the quality for it. But either way, there's a doubt around it, which means we need to sign someone. Maybe we'll have Liam Cooper. I know there's contract talks around that, but he's not someone that will want to start either. It's another spot in which we need to make moves. And in my opinion, it's a full 5 out of 5 again. We're weaker than we think. We need at least 2 centre-backs that are very, very, very good and pushing for a starting position, because otherwise we leave ourselves at risk. Over to left-back. And let's be honest, at this point, we all know our feelings on Firpo. Everyone has got their opinion. It is almost certainly set, and no one will be changing their mind at this point. My personal view on Firpo is that he's a very, very good attacking fullback, and he's improved defensively over the past season. And I think genuinely he's good enough to start in the Championship throughout next season if he stays fit. The issue here, however, is there's not really any depth behind him. Look behind him, and maybe you've got Sam Byram as a rotation option. Jamie Shackleton's played there once. Archie Gray played there for half an hour. Beyond that, it's not really fantastic. But because we don't need a starting player, I'm going to call this one a 3 out of 5. We definitely need some backup there. That isn't in doubt for me. But yeah, Firpo starts, but we probably need to sign a left back at the very least. Moving forwards, we're out of the defence, sort of. Is defensive midfield, and I genuinely feel kind of comfortable here. I feel nice and comfy and cozy and happy and good. Because I think Ethan Ampadu is excellent in this role. He got to play it in the first half of the season, and he was just breaking things up from the middle of the park time and time and time again, and defensively we were so solid. And in addition to that, Ilya Gruev is also fantastic. He offers a slightly different profile. He's a bit more happy to jump into a tackle where Ampadu's a bit more composed, like staying on his feet. And in addition to that, we've also got Charlie Crew waiting in the wings, who, let's not forget, has played a game for the Welsh national team at the moment. Yes, it was against Gibraltar, and yes, it was to sort of secure him nationally, but it means he's definitely on the radar. He's got some quality about him. That's not a bad set of players to have in defensive midfield, so I think I'm going to go for something like... I'm going to go 1 out of 5. I don't think we need to do anything. If we do sell someone, sure, replace them. But I don't think any of those players are going to leave. I think Charlie Crew is going to be on the bench significantly more often this season. I think he might get an appearance or two. We don't need to change anything about that defensive midfield. However, the rest of midfield, we need a little bit of movement. In my opinion, Glenn Kamara is a good enough cog in the machine sort of player. He's a good enough sort of person who you can put into a system and he'll play those rhythmic, metronomic passes that keep the ball ticking over. But he doesn't do the box-to-box stuff incredibly well. And whilst I think Archie Gray does have that in him, I think we're yet to see enough of Archie Gray there to be comfortable with him being the starting midfielder week in, week out. Maybe 3 or 4 starts at the start of the season, we go, shit, Gray is really good at the box-to-box midfield stuff, and he's bringing us a goal threat, because ideally, in my opinion, if Gray isn't that, we do need to add some goal-scoring talent in there. Ampadu doesn't score goals. Kamara doesn't score goals. Gray didn't score a goal. Gruev, I don't think scored. Not off the top of my head. So we really need some goals to come from midfield next season. So ideally we add some talent there, and I'm going to call it a 4 out of 5. It will be key, but I don't think it's top priority. We need to solve the 5 out of 5s first, or we basically don't have a squad to start the season with. And then ideally after that, we move on to getting a midfielder that can put the ball in the back of the net, but is still sort of a little bit deeper than an attacking midfielder. And I think this one's a very, very big question. We've got 2 players that can be number 10s at the moment, sort of 3, but I put Piru in the striker section. We've got Aronson back, and we know that he can be a number 10 from time to time. And we've got Jorginho Ruter. Ruter, brilliant, fantastic dribbler, can occasionally find that perfect pass, and his assists were huge last year. But in my opinion, neither of them are pure number 10s. Aronson, I think, would thrive out on the wing. Same for Jorginho Ruter, but I think we're going to see both of them a little bit more central this season. But at the same time, I think they're good enough 10s to make it not something desperate. I think they're good enough at number 10 to mean that we can feel a little bit comfy and cozy. So I'm going to call this one a 3 out of 5. Another signing would be good, and it'd offer something different, but it's not essential. It's more of a nice to have. It's more of a, if everything else can get solved, yes, we look at a number 10. But we might be all right there. Someone that's a little bit more desperately in need is the wings. Positive side, Dan James, fantastic, brilliant player, almost certainly going to be around next season, and he can play on the right, he can play on the left. Wonderful. But you look at our other wingers. Anthony's gone back to Bournemouth. Crescencio Somerville is, I've got a 98% belief that Somerville... which is not a good thing. 35-40 million pounds-ish means that we should be able to get some signings in, but at the same time we need to think that Willie Gnonto is a doubt. We don't know whether we'll be able to keep him, whether he will be sold. A little bit spooky. Quite badly need depth here. We quite badly need starting players here, and this is a 5 out of 5. This is get something done as soon as possible. This is the moment we hit that transfer deadline, not the transfer deadline, the PRS deadline. Make a change if we can. Get someone in, because shit, that's key. We have to get that done. Because otherwise we don't have that wide threat, and that wide threat carried us so hard last season. Something else that did reasonably well for us last season was our strikers. Patrick Bamford, everyone has opinions on him. That's fair. You're allowed your opinions on him. I'm allowed to disagree with them. I think he's very good attacking wise, but what I've gone with here is he's not the most physically reliable. He will get injured, and when he's not in the team, will look worse. So ideally, we have someone in the team that is more physically consistent and doesn't get those injuries. And technically, Piru wasn't injured very much, but his role is very, very confusing. I don't know if Joel Piru is a pure number 9 enough for what we need. We need someone that can drag defenders around, make room for the 10, make room for the wingers, and that's not what Joel Piru does. He sits a little bit deeper and compacts things, which we don't need to happen. But at the end of the day, we need to remember that Mateo Joseph has also emerged. And I can see him getting a lot of starts this season, and I think that if he does start, he has the quality and the potential to really push forward and do something at Leeds United. And because of that, because we've got Joseph and Bamford and Piru, I'm going to call this a 2 out of 5. I think what we need to do here is not sign anyone extra, because then anyone that's demanding that Mateo Joseph gets minutes loses Mateo Joseph getting minutes because we've signed someone to play in the first team. But instead, we do 1 in, 1 out. Yeah, if we sell Patrick Bamford, I think we sign someone that could start for the first team. If we sell Piru, we could sign someone that can start for the first team. But it's not somewhere that we need to proactively go, let's sign someone right now. Because it's not that important, to be honest with you. There's more pressing matters to deal with beforehand. But at the end of the day, that is just my opinions, and I kind of want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on our transfer priorities, what jobs you think will get done, and ultimately where Leeds are going to land at the end of the window. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're not yet. That's always hugely appreciated. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. And for the people that stick around after the end of the video, I've got an extra long end of video segment here. I posted this video on Twitter yesterday because you guys have been posting something in the comments for me, haven't you? Let's see how that one went. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure my YouTube comments are going to love me right now. Down below in the comments, put the word never, because Dan James is never going to leave. I think gonna sums him up. Down below in the comments, put the word gonna as... That'd be the word. Give Ratkov. Give. Pop the word you in the comments. Not like your name, but you. Just pop in the comments the word up. Never gonna give you up. See you later. Such a child.